Ah, yes, another movie that gives us even more reasons to never trust children. Welcome back to 31 Days of Halloween. Today we are going to be talking about a Swedish movie. So, another foreign film that was recommended to me by a friend. You will notice that I have a shirt that says Iceland on it. This is the closest I have of any clothing that can get me to Sweden. And I know that, like, those people kind of migrated there a very long time ago, so I feel like it kind of connects a little bit. But anyway, back to Let the Right One In. So, Let the Right One In is a Swedish film about vampires. And the vampire, you find out rather quickly, is this little girl named Ellie. And she befriends our protagonist, basically, whose name is Oscar. There is an inflection on there. I think it's like Oscar. But for the sake of simplicity on my American vocal cords, I'm just going to say Oscar. Please don't be too mad. So Oscar is bullied at school pretty savagely by some kids, as usually happens in these sort of movies. And while he's outside pretending to basically stab these kids, he is introduced to Ellie. So Ellie's a little weird and a little off, and we all see it because we know that she's the vampire. Oscar doesn't quite see it. Like, he never puts, or not never, but he doesn't put two and two together right away until things start to get really crazy and she starts to act a little weird towards him, and then he finally figures out, like, what's going on with her. And the movie is, it's almost 2 hours, and it at times feels its length, and at times it doesn't feel its length. So there's times when you sit there, or I sit there, and I'm like, all right, was this really necessary to have in this movie? Did we really need to sit here and watch this for all this time? And then there's other times where things do move pretty quickly. There are some weird parts in the movie, too, that kind of made the movie a little off for me. Like, Ellie has this person that she lives with who kills people for her and brings back blood. This person was literally in the middle of a well-lit park with cars driving by in the background, stringing someone up from a tree and cutting the guy's throat to drain his blood. Like, could you be any worse of a criminal? Like, you were literally murdering people. Why would you pick a well-lit, well-traveled park that close to the road where you're going to murder someone? I don't get it. Like, why? There's just so many little things in the movie like that were really weird, and it kind of takes away from what the ultimate goal of the movie is, which is talking about or I guess in my interpretation, the goal is like the relationship between Ellie and Oscar, and like friendship, and we don't always find the people that are good for us at the time, but like then they are good for us. I don't know, maybe I'm just making this up to try and make myself sound smarter and make this movie sound better, because I wasn't quite a fan of it. I did like the relationship between Ellie and Oscar. I thought it was really cute. I thought it was really heartbreaking. The way that Oscar's kind of like oblivious to everything, and he's just trying to make his way through school and life and be as unobtrusive as possible, and people just don't allow that to happen for him. Whereas Ellie is also basically trying to do the same thing, but not because she's being bullied. It's because if people find out what she is, then they're going to try and kill her. So things escalate throughout the movie, where mistakes are made by both Ellie's caretaker and Ellie and Oscar, until we get to the final part of the movie, which is kind of crazy. So I'm not going to talk about that right now because that is a spoiler section. Is there anything else that I liked in the movie? I'm not sure. I think it was really just the relationship between Ellie and Oscar. The atmospherics were okay. There's a lot of snow. We're in Sweden. I kind of wish that there had been less of a focus on like the other characters that the movie added in, and I understand why they were important because they helped to move the plot along and get us to our final ending. But they seem to bog things down and were kind of like unnecessarily there. I, I feel like, you know, there were other ways that they could have been found out without introducing these other characters. Um, so that it bogged it down for me. It like once a movie starts getting past an hour and a half, you really have to make me feel invested in a movie to make me feel like it's worth it for me to sit there. Because it's a long time to be sitting there for a movie being focused and trying to keep track of what's going on with who and making sure that like I like these characters still and I'm not just tired of seeing them. So I gave this movie a 5. Mostly just for Ellie and Oscar. I really liked the two of them together, even though Oscar had a stupid haircut. He's like the only one in the movie with that haircut. And maybe that's why the kids make fun of him. That's really bad to say. I mean, it's not a serious comment, but like, I really didn't like his haircut. No one else had hair like that. Everybody else had like normal, kind of regular hair or whatever. But I did like their relationship together. I can't give it anything higher because I don't know if I would even. I guess I would recommend this, like if you're really into vampires and foreign films, kind of like really slow burn movies where not much happens. You know, the payoff at the end, I guess, is kind of worth it. But this is not a movie that I would rewatch. Like I know I gave Prince of Darkness a kind of low score, like a 4, but I also said that I think I needed to rewatch it to really kind of appreciate it. So maybe I shouldn't even give this one a 5 if I'm not willing to rewatch it, and I am willing to watch Prince of Darkness. So we're going to give this movie a 4 without the option of rewatching. Whereas Prince of Darkness is a 4 with the option of rewatching. Yes, we're getting very complicated on our rating system now. My friend gave it a 2 because he felt that the movie was too slow and he didn't like all the different characters and the relationships in there. But this movie does get really good ratings from general viewership and critics. So on IMDb, it's got a 7.9. On Rotten Tomatoes, I believe it's in the high 80s. And then the critics give it like a 91 or a 93. So again, maybe it's more of the atmospherics did it for them and they didn't do it to me. Maybe they put more weight into the relationships between Ellie and Oscar. It didn't cut it. So I wouldn't personally recommend this, but if any of what I mentioned like hits it for you, then I guess go watch it and maybe you'll have better luck with it than I did. But it's not something I would, if someone asked me, oh, what's a good horror movie or a vampire movie recommendation? This is not one that I would recommend to them. So, if you would like to see this movie and you don't want to be in the spoilers, you should head out now. Please make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share. Thank you if you already have or do that. And I will see you in the next video because we are heading into spoiler territory. So, this movie ends, and I didn't even notice it. Like, it ends with a pool scene. Where one of the bullies is holding Oscar under the water, and then Ellie comes in and kind of kills everybody. And there was part of the pool scene where the kids' feet are dragged through the water while we're seeing Oscar under the water. And apparently this is similar to a scene in Jennifer's Body. So I'd be curious to go, like, maybe read the commentary for Jennifer's Body or do a little bit of research into that to see, like, if Diablo Cody and, I can't remember the writer's name, it's Karama or something like that, wanted to somehow reference or pay like respects to this movie through their scene, because I'm pretty sure there's a part where a kid's feet are dragged through the pool and you can see them while you're underwater. So that's basically how the movie ends. You know, Ellie comes and rescues Oscar after someone tries to kill her, and she's like, I have to go, I'm going to disappear. And then the two of them are just on a train leaving somewhere. And I know, and Ellie is I was going to say I didn't know why Ellie had to be kept in the box that she's on in the train, and I realized, oh, because of the sunlight, because she will burst into flames. That was actually one of the cooler scenes in the movie when the woman's like, please open the blinds, and they open the blinds and she bursts into flames. I really like that scene too. Couldn't say that earlier because it was a little bit of a spoiler. So Ellie and Oscar tap out because they've learned Morse code with each other on the box. Little kiss, I think it's the translation into English. So I guess they're off to live a life together somehow, even though they're two small children who have no marketable skills. But I guess that's not really the point of the movie. The movie's to feel something for these two characters by the end. I don't know. I just it wasn't it for me. And I also thought it was a little weird. I know this movie's based on a book. I did think it was a little weird that they give you a glimpse into the fact that Ellie's been castrated. And I only found this out because they show the scene where she's getting dressed and Oscar looks in, and where her pubic bone would be, there's like a lot of scarring. So it's kind of confusing, like, oh, what is that? Because it's never explained. You never hear about it again. Nobody ever talks about it. Nobody ever mentions it. You never see any of them naked ever again. You just see that one glimpse, and it's like, okay, like, what is that? Is this to say that, like, vampires don't have genitals? I don't get it. But apparently it is because when Ellie was originally a boy named Elias, who, when he was transformed into a vampire, the vampire who transformed him castrated him and ripped off his penis and his testicles. So now he's a girl? I'm not sure how to really explain it, but that's the best way that I guess I can. That's the only way that I can explain it, because that's literally what it is. I think the movie would have been better served by not even having that in there, because then you're waiting for an explanation on this, and it really doesn't serve any purpose in the movie. You know, if they had shown us what had happened to Ellie, then fine, like, leave it in. But it doesn't, even then, like, it doesn't serve a purpose. It's just kind of like, well, what is this? Maybe it made people happy who read the book and then watched the movie. It was kind of just an unnecessary aspect to have in there, in my opinion. As someone who hasn't read the book and didn't entirely enjoy the movie. So take it with a grain of salt. So that is pretty much it for Let the Right One In. I am officially giving it a 4 because I am not interested in rewatching it, but I did sort of enjoy it. So please make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share, and I will see you guys in the next video, so long as you make sure you invite the right ones in, not the wrong ones. Why are there so many planes out today? Oh, it's a helicopter? Why are there so many flying machines out today?